Hey there guys, Tom here, welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me for this, a very special video. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, and you know what, no new release movies coming out, so let's go back and I'm going to show you guys my entire Blu-ray collection. Strap yourself in, this is going to be a long one. And if you haven't been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. So recently I stopped buying Blu-rays. I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna purchase my movies digitally from now on, mainly because I'm running out of room. I've got no more shelf space in here to put Blu-rays. And I was a big Blu-ray collector. I still am. I love physical media. I love Blu-rays. I love going to the shelf, picking out a movie, physically getting the disc and putting it in my PlayStation. I love doing that. You know, I always love and prefer physical media over digital, but the time has come. I've sort of run out of room, so I've decided from now on I'm going to be buying my movies through the Google Play Store. So it's a good time, it's a better time than any to go through and show you guys my entire Blu-ray collection. So let's get started. So we're going to start with box sets. So first of all, we're going to have the entire Star Wars saga. This is episodes 1 through 6. And then we have The Force Awakens. This is the 3D version, and of course Lucasfilm did that thing you might remember back then. They released The Force Awakens and then a few months later they released the 3D versions, which has, mainly I got this because, not because I'm a fan of 3D, but because it has J.J. Abrams' director's commentary on it, and it caused a bit of backlash because people were pissed off. It's like, well, you've released it once already, why didn't you just release it the first time with all the extras? Why do you have to do this re-release? It really annoyed a lot of people, and I was one of those people that annoyed, but you know, we still ran out and got it anyway, and I love director's commentaries, so that's why I own this. This is the DVD box set of the Clone Wars seasons 1 through 5. Of course, I have the Lost Missions somewhere. I don't know where that DVD is. I've actually lost it. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. And then season 7 obviously is on Disney+. And I want to upgrade this to Blu-ray eventually when I have the time and the money to do it. But this is the Clone Wars seasons 1 through 5. Then we have all of Star Wars Rebels, seasons 1 through 4. I enjoyed Star Wars Rebels. I don't love it as much as I love the Clone Wars, but Star Wars Rebels got really good, particularly in the last season with Darth Maul and everything that happened with that storyline. I really appreciate Star Wars Rebels, and I just think this adds a lot to the Star Wars collection. I think if you're going to have a Star Wars collection, you've got to have Rebels and Clone Wars. Then we have the 2 spin-off Star Wars story films. We have Rogue One and Solo. Both movies I really appreciate and really enjoy for various different reasons. Both movies aren't perfect. I actually really appreciate Solo: A Star Wars Story. I think this movie is just a hell of a lot of fun. Then we get into the sequel trilogy. So we have The Force Awakens. This is the steelbook for The Force Awakens. And I think, depending on where you live, depends on what the steelbooks look like. But I love this. It's just, there's no logo on it. There's no nothing. It's just Kylo Ren and Captain Phasma on the back. And I like keeping these little cardboard slips in them as well. Then we have Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now this one, they decided to sort of put the Star Wars logo on the bottom, so these steelbooks don't exactly all look the same, but I do like this. This has Rey and Kylo on the back, which I think looks really, really awesome. And just like they did in the movie with the steelbook, they did the same thing. They just made it look completely different and not consistent with the other 2 films in the sequel trilogy. This is the Rise of Skywalker steelbook. It is a beautiful cover, but I do wish they kept the same style of just having one character on the front and one character on the back. Which they kind of did, but it doesn't really match the other 2. But of course, I had steelbooks for the other 2, so I had to get a steelbook for Rise of Skywalker as well. Next up, we have Indiana Jones, the Complete Adventures. This is the Blu-rays for all 4 Indiana Jones movies. I love this thing, and I love how it opens up completely like that. It looks awesome. It folds out like that. It has some really great, actually, bonus features on these discs as well, which is really cool to dig into. Then we have the box set of the Dark Knight trilogy. I actually really like this. This came with some cool little tiny like mini posters, and they look really, really awesome as well. But I enjoy the Dark Knight trilogy. I think I'm one of the people who I really enjoy the trilogy, but I'm not in love with it like a lot of people are in love with it. You know, I don't consider The Dark Knight to be up there in like my top 4 or 5 greatest comic book movies ever made. Even though, again, great films, I enjoy them, but to me they're not on the same level that some other people would put them on. Next up, we have the Breaking Bad box set. Look, Breaking Bad, it's my favorite TV show of all time. What else is there to say about this? This is awesome. I actually picked this up for quite a good deal. Like, this was on like sale and I had like 50% off when I went to purchase it, and I was like, great, awesome. So pick this up. Love this. I've rewatched the series multiple times. I'm probably going to rewatch it again. Speaking of Breaking Bad, we have the Better Call Saul series. I think seasons 1, 2, and 3. Season 4 obviously isn't out on Blu-ray yet. I've seen season 4. I really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to the final season. Let me know in the comment section below. Are you guys Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad fans? And what do you think of Better Call Saul? I think it's a really good, solid series. Obviously, it doesn't compete with Breaking Bad, but it's really quite a good series as well. Speaking of, again, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, this is Prison Break, the box set. This is all seasons, including the most recent season, the sort of reboot season they did. I enjoy Prison Break a lot. The final season, it's good. I enjoyed it, but with more time to reflect on it, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of problems. It creates some continuity issues with when you consider it with the rest of the series, but I love Prison Break. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Next up, we have the Harry Potter box set, all 8 films. Again, this is a cool little box, and I really like the artwork on all the discs. If I can open this thing, it's got all these like really cool artworks on these discs as well. And I really appreciate more than anything, you know, when you buy a Blu-ray, when it's not just boring on the disc itself, when it has some cool artwork. Ugh, somebody save me. Smallville, the entire series on DVD. If I could get these on Blu-ray, I would. I'm not sure if they're available anywhere. I had a brief look, I couldn't find it, but I picked up the entire series of Smallville on DVD. This thing weighs a ton. I haven't watched Smallville in years, and I'm planning to rewatch the entire series. I really did enjoy Smallville when I was younger, so looking forward to giving this entire box set a rewatch. Okay, next up, if some of you know me and followed me over from my previous YouTube channels, you'll know that I'm a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! The entire series on DVD, and of course you have like the spines of all the covers make up all the 5 pieces of Exodia, which is really awesome. Then we have 2 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies. You have the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, which is Pyramid of Light, and then you have the one that came out recently, like only a couple of years ago, with Dark Side of Dimensions. Okay, now let's get into the MCU. So I have the entire MCU right from the first Iron Man right up until Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home. Look at the artwork on this Blu-ray. This looks absolutely incredible. This is the steelbook. I think it's the only MCU steelbook I have, and I just had to pick it up. It just looks incredible, and I actually really appreciate the movie as well. I think Spider-Man Far From Home is better than Spider-Man Homecoming. That's just my opinion. I enjoy this film greatly. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do in the next Spider-Man MCU film. Then of course we have Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, catching the light there, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Doctor Strange, Captain America Civil War, Ant-Man, Avengers Age of Ultron, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Thor the Dark World, a movie that a lot of people hate, and I really actually quite like Thor the Dark World. Iron Man 3, I think another underappreciated film. Then you have the first Avengers movie, Captain America the First Avenger, which again, light catching it, but yep, Captain America First Avenger. A movie again I feel is underappreciated in the comic book space. I really do enjoy the first Captain America movie. Then you have the first Thor movie, not one of my favorites, but I do appreciate this film. And then Iron Man 2, what more needs to be said about Iron Man 2? It has a lot of issues, but I don't think it's the pile of garbage that a lot of people would consider it to be. Then you have The Incredible Hulk, I think a fun movie, but it's on the lower end of MCU movies to me. And then the first Iron Man, which is a film that has a very special place in my heart. I love this movie. I think this movie is one of the best. It's one of the top tier MCU movies in my opinion. Okay, so now we're going to get into some movies that really aren't in any particular order. I've just got a sort of a pile of Blu-rays around me here. So we have Happy Death Day 1 and 2, Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. I really love these movies. These were 2 of the most pleasant surprise movies I've ever seen. I actually enjoy the second one more than the first one, but both of these are great. If you haven't seen Happy Death Day 1 and 2, get on that. They are fantastic. They're a little scary, but they're more comedy than they are horror, which I was really surprised about, and that's one of the reasons I enjoy these movies so much. Then we have Christopher Robin. I feel like this is an underrated movie. This movie charmed the hell out of me when I went to see it. The fact that the CGI in this film is so good with Winnie the Pooh and all of his friends, and Ewan McGregor, Hayley Atwell, stellar cast, absolutely brilliant. It's a charming little movie. I encourage you, go and see Christopher Robin. It's a fun movie to watch. Then we have the Unbreakable trilogy with Split, Unbreakable, and Glass. Split's actually my favorite of the three, and I think Glass is probably the worst of the three. But three films I did enjoy. Glass obviously has a lot of issues. I was really hoping for more from Glass than we got, but still, I enjoy all three of these movies to varying degrees. Next up, we have A Quiet Place. Oh my god, I love A Quiet Place. It was one of my favorite movies of 2018. I'm so excited for the sequel. You know, we should have already have seen it by now, but obviously it got pushed to September because of what's going on right now. I'm so excited for A Quiet Place 2. Emily Blunt, John Krasinski can do no wrong. Okay, this is a film a lot of you would not have ever heard of in your life, but I encourage you to try and find this movie somewhere and watch it if you can. This is Last Cab to Darwin. This is an Australian film, and it's honestly one of the best films I've ever seen. I love this film. It's such an inspiring story about a man's right to die. I know that doesn't sound very inspiring, but this movie has so much heart, so much Australian humor. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite films. And yeah, see this film if you can. If you can try and find it somewhere on some streaming service, I would recommend Last Cab to Darwin, especially if you're Australian. We have Detective Pikachu. This is the Steelbook, which I love. I love the little Pikachu on the back here. It's just adorable. This was a movie that, look, not everybody loved it. I really did. I think Detective Pikachu was way better than it had any business being. You know, I was a casual Pokemon fan. I'm not a die-hard Pokemon fan, but I really, really did enjoy Detective Pikachu. Now, this is a film I recently did a review for. This is Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Listen, guilty pleasure. I know this movie isn't perfect, but it's a film I had a lot of fun with. You know, who would have thought a live-action Dora the Explorer movie would come out? And I think it had like, on Rotten Tomatoes, initially when it came out, it had like an 85%. So who would have thought a live-action Dora would get that kind of rating on Rotten Tomatoes? But it did. And a lot of people enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed it. It's far better than what it should have been. Another movie with Isabella Merced is Instant Family. If you guys haven't seen Instant Family, seriously, get on this. Mark Wahlberg, Rose Byrne, I think. This movie's charming, funny, heartfelt. It's all of the things you want in a movie. This movie will just make you feel good. It just does. Then we have the 2019 Lion King. It's a movie that isn't perfect. The CGI is obviously amazing and sort of groundbreaking in that sense. Listen, it's not the perfection of the 1994 animated classic, but I still think it's a very good movie. Then we have The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. I enjoy Simba's Pride. I don't love it, but I don't think it deserves a lot of the hate that it kind of gets from people. I enjoyed it. Next up, we have The Florida Project. This film is a really unique movie. And it's not a movie that I would rewatch over and over again, but it's got Willem Dafoe in it. And it's really hard to describe this film, but it's a film I did enjoy. It's a film that I think has a lot of heart, and it's definitely it's a beautiful film to watch. I think the filmmaking on display in this film, it's one of those movies that when I think of an art house movie, this is one of the movies I think of. It really captures what indie art house filmmaking is all about. Then we have Walk Among the Tombstones with Liam Neeson. This is a very, very dark film. It's also a very good film as well. I enjoy this film. Not a rewatchable movie. It's not a film you'd want to go back and rewatch like Taken or something. But it's a good film, and if you haven't seen Walk Among the Tombstones, I recommend checking it out. Speaking of Liam Neeson, we have Unknown. Unknown, listen, again, a movie that I think gets a lot of hate. I enjoyed Unknown. We have Wonder with Jacob Tremblay, who one day is going to have Oscars on his mantle. This film is great. Molly's Game, one of the best movies of 2017 or 18, I'm not sure. But Jessica Chastain, Idris Elba, fantastic film. Call Me By Your Name. I haven't seen this yet. I picked it up ages ago, and I've just hadn't had the chance to watch it yet, but I'm really keen to sit down and see Call Me By Your Name. I, Tonya with Margot Robbie. This movie is fantastic. It's hilarious. Margot Robbie proves she's world class. I, Tonya was great. Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe. Listen, who would have thought this movie, Daniel Radcliffe is a farting corpse whose erections act as a compass to find their way out of a forest. Look, Swiss Army Man. Just watch it, okay? Just watch it. Patterson with Adam Driver. This movie is not a movie where a lot of exciting things happen. This is just a film about a couple and their life. It's just Adam Driver going through life. He's a bus driver, he has a little dog, and he just goes through life. And Patterson, really, really good movie. I really enjoyed this film. Check it out, it's absolute quality. Speaking of Liam Neeson, as we did just a minute ago, we have the Taken trilogy. What else is there to say about the Taken trilogy? I don't know who you are, but if I find you, I will kill you.
Marty, you've got to come back with me. Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, this is the trilogy. What is there to say about Back to the Future? One of the greatest trilogies of all time. Then we have Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom. Listen, who would have thought a Venom movie could work without Spider-Man? There were a lot of people that were like, Venom, you can't make a Venom movie that doesn't have Spider-Man in it. That will never work. And this movie proved that, yeah, it can work. The next movie is Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. This is the original Mary Poppins. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite Disney films. Unfortunately, Mary Poppins Returns didn't do it for me. I didn't like that movie. I felt like it was a bit of a waste, even though Emily Blunt is fantastic in that movie. But the original Mary Poppins, one of the greatest films of all time, one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Next up, we have Kubo and the Two Strings, a movie I do enjoy. I don't love it, but I like it. Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves. Quite a bad film, actually. I picked this up just because it was in like one of those, 3 or 4 movies for $20 piles, and yeah, not a great film. A very dark movie, but not a great movie. Then we have the Disney animated Jungle Book film. I picked this up just because I was gonna have a whole Disney animated collection that I never really finished, so Jungle Book. We have Flight with Denzel Washington. This is one of my favorite films. I love this movie. Denzel Washington's incredible in it. Flight. I love Flight. Then we have Wolf of Wall Street. It's Wolf of Wall Street, Marty Scorsese, Margot Robbie. That scene with Margot Robbie. Woo! Then we have The Infiltrator. This has Bryan Cranston. I didn't love this movie, but obviously I'm a big Bryan Cranston fan. And The Infiltrator, I didn't love it. It's okay, but not great in my opinion. I'm sick and tired of these mother snakes on this plane. Snakes on a plane. Look, there are two types of people in the world. Those who love snakes on a plane and those who don't. Snakes on a plane. I love snakes on a plane. Then we have Matt Damon in The Martian. Listen, this movie, one of my favorite movies of, I think, 2015. The Martian is awesome. If you have not seen The Martian, see The Martian. Then we have The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Listen, I like this film. I don't love it as much as other people do, but it is a very good Shane Black movie, and these two guys have such great chemistry together, and that's what makes this film as entertaining as it is. Then we have Star Trek Beyond. Listen, I'm not a big Star Trek guy. I enjoy Star Trek The Next Generation, and I enjoyed the first 2 J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, but to me, Star Trek Beyond was the best of that trilogy. Next up, we have Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt. I like this movie more than most people do. Not a great film, but a film that I enjoy nonetheless. Then we have The World's Fastest Indian. This movie has Anthony Hopkins in it. This is a very sweet movie. It's quite a dramatic film as well. Anthony Hopkins gives one hell of a performance in this film. It's a movie where you really feel sorry for what his character has to go through to achieve his goals in this film. I adore this movie. Then we have Disney's Planes. I'll be honest with you, I don't know why I own this. Next up, we have 2019's Bumblebee, the best Transformers live-action movie we've ever gotten. The friend I went to see this film with absolutely hated it, and that's okay. He's allowed to be wrong. Then we have The Upside with Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston. This is a remake of a French film. This film isn't great, but it's a film that I think the performances carry the film and really elevate the material in this movie. It's not a great film. I did enjoy it though. Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart, they're both great in the movie. Next up, we have A Star Is Born. What more can I say about this film? I've talked at length about this movie. Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga, this film is incredible. I love it. I love it so much. Next up, we have Clint Eastwood in The Mule. This movie, I don't think got a lot of attention. I think some people found it boring, and I can understand that. I found this movie quite riveting from start to finish. I was very into this film, and I think Clint Eastwood did a great job. Bradley Cooper is also in this movie. This movie's great. It's a movie I highly recommend. Next up, we have one of the best comedies of the last couple of years in long shots, Charlize Theron, Seth Rogen. Really, really funny movie. Then we have my favorite film of all time, the original 1994 The Lion King. It is my favorite movie ever, full stop, period, end of sentence. Next up, we have Tag. This was a fun little comedy. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Jeremy Renner is sensational in this film. Then we have The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. This was a very, very underrated movie. This might have been my favorite movie from 2015. I love The Intern. This movie actually made my top 10 films of the decade list. If you haven't seen that video, go and check that out. It's on my channel right now. I'm gonna have to speed things up, I think. We have Going in Style. This is the remake with Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin. This movie got a lot of hate. I actually really enjoyed this film. Then we have Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Fuck yeah. Then we have the Australian classic, The Castle. If you haven't seen The Castle, see The Castle. You know what I'm talking about. Tell them they're dreaming. I love this movie. Then we have Bryan Cranston and Zoe Deutsch in Why Him? A great little comedy. I really enjoyed this film. Then we have Blade Runner 2049. I enjoyed this movie more than the original Blade Runner. Okay, I think it's time for a drink. Next up, we have the original Blade Runner. I have it just for collection purposes. I like the movie. I don't love it like a lot of other people do. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, one of the best films of 2018. Zootopia, quite a quality Disney movie. I don't love Zootopia, but I really enjoy Zootopia. Then we have Monsters, Inc. I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you. I love Monsters, Inc. Give me a proper sequel to Monsters, Inc. Let me see what happens after they open the door at the end to see Boo. I want to see what happens immediately after. Where is my Monsters, Inc. sequel, damn it? Then we have A Bug's Life. I love A Bug's Life. Not enough people talk about this film. It's one of the forgotten Pixar movies. A Bug's Life. Bring it back. Bring back A Bug's Life. Give me a sequel to A Bug's Life. It's another one I want a sequel to. Then we have Chris Evans with The Gifted. This is such an emotional, heartwarming film. I love this movie. I really do. The Gifted. Then we have Bryan Cranston in Wakefield. Again, a movie that I don't think a lot of people saw, but a very good movie nonetheless. It's quite a powerful and poignant film. Then we have Ocean's 8, a movie that I really, really enjoyed. Look, it's not as good as Ocean's 11 or 12. It's a film that has some great performances, and I thought it was quite a fun movie to watch. Then we have the Die Hard films. Yippee-ki-yay, mother F. Look, it's the Die Hard movies. What else is there to say about it? Die Hard 1, 2, and 3. The other two are in here somewhere, but whatever, who cares? Then we have Will Smith versus Will Smith in Gemini Man. This was a movie that got a lot of hate, but I loved Gemini Man. Gemini Man was everything I wanted it to be and so much more. Then we have Batman and Robin. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Look, guilty pleasure. I love Batman and Robin. I do. Then we have Ben Affleck's The Accountant, a very, very underrated movie that deserves a sequel. Give me a sequel to The Accountant. Fantastic film. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I love this movie. This movie is great. Then we have Robin Williams in Angriest Man in Brooklyn. I picked this up randomly because I hadn't seen it. It's a fun movie. James Earl Jones in this film steals the show. Disney's Tarzan, the original animated one. Listen, Phil Collins didn't have to go all the way on that soundtrack, but he did, and I appreciate it. Well done, Phil Collins. Tom Hanks' Sully, a very, very good film. The Magnificent Seven. This movie disappointed me. I'll be honest. I liked the movie. I didn't love it. It was disappointing. It should have been a lot better. Boss Baby. Yes, I own Boss Baby. Don't judge me. What If? This movie is Daniel Radcliffe and Adam Driver. It's a very, very underrated romantic comedy. I enjoyed What If. Then we have Denzel Washington and Chris Pine in Unstoppable. This movie is a lot of fun. They're trying to stop a train that's basically, taken off. And very exciting film. Then we have Kick-Ass. Who doesn't love Kick-Ass? Then we have Seth Rogen and James Franco in The Interview, the movie that almost started World War III. Okay, next up we have the DCEU films. So we have Man of Steel. We have Batman v Superman. This is the theatrical and the Ultimate Edition. I enjoyed the Ultimate Edition more. I still think Batman v Superman overall, both versions are suboptimal films. I don't love it. It's my least favorite DCEU film. Then we have Wonder Woman. This is my favorite DC movie ever, not just DCEU. Then we have Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was dope. I thought Aquaman was a lot of fun. It's incredibly goofy, but it's a lot of fun. Really looking forward to seeing where they take this franchise next. Then we have Suicide Squad, the movie that it's a hot mess, but Will Smith and Margot Robbie somehow made it work. I enjoyed Suicide Squad, but again, I know it has problems. Then we have Justice League. Listen, I like Justice League. I'm very excited for the Snyder Cut coming next year, but I own this just for collection. Movie's not great. It's not great. What the hell did they do to Superman's face? I'm not sure. It has a lot of problems, but I enjoyed it for what it was. But I'm really hoping, and I'm pretty sure the Snyder Cut's going to be way better. We have Deadpool. This is the Deadpool Steelbook, which is really cool. And we also have Deadpool 2, the Super Duper Effin' Cut, which I really enjoyed. I love Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, both fantastic movies. Please, Disney, give us Deadpool 3. That's what we all want to see. Then we have Once Upon a Deadpool. Not a great version of Deadpool 2. It's basically just Deadpool 2, but PG-13. Then we have the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. 3 is obviously the worst. 1 and 2 are the best. I love this trilogy so much, and I was so happy to see J.K. Simmons pop back up as J. Jonah in Spider-Man Far From Home. Give me more of him as that character all day, every day. Then we have Logan. This is an incredible steelbook for Logan. It's Hugh Jackman's best Wolverine movie. I love Logan. It's fantastic. Then we have X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse isn't the greatest film, but I love the steelbook of this. I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. This is The Disaster Artist, the movie based on The Room, of course. If you've seen The Room, watch The Room and then see The Disaster Artist with James Franco. Incredible film, funny, hilarious, also heartfelt. Really easily could have felt like they were making fun of Tommy Wiseau, and they are kind of, but it's done in a respectful way. I really enjoyed The Disaster Artist. Then we have It Chapter 1. I say Chapter 1, well really it's just It, but I didn't like It Chapter 2, but I love the first It movie. Then we have The Iron Giant. I love The Iron Giant. The Iron Giant's fantastic. Brad Bird, Vin Diesel, fantastic. If you haven't seen The Iron Giant, check it out. It's one of the greatest. This is one of those movies that I really feel, I'm really curious why it hasn't ever been translated into a live action film. Because give me that all day, every day. That could be all kinds of awesome. Then we have Tom Cruise's American Made. This was a film from the last few years. I think it's quite a recent movie. I really enjoyed American Made. It's quite a fun film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really cool. Paddington 1 and 2. If you don't enjoy Paddington, you don't know what happiness is, watch Paddington 1. Paddington 2 might even be better. And please give me Paddington 3, because if Paddington 3 comes out and it's at least 75% as good as 1 and 2, it's in the conversation for like one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Paddington, get on it. Then we have the Simpsons movie, because it's the Simpsons movie. Spider-Pig does whatever a Spider-Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out. Here comes a Spider-Pig. Then we have Arrival with Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams. I was a fan of this film. I like this movie. I don't super love it like everybody else, but Arrival, it is a great film. Then we have a movie that always touches my heart and always makes me cry. It's one of the first films I saw that really just made me bawl crying. It's The Bucket List with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. If you haven't seen The Bucket List, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic movie. I love The Bucket List. Then we have the 2016 Jungle Book. Then we have the Pokemon movie collection, because why not? Then we have Grand Piano. Funny story about this movie, Grand Piano. So Grand Piano is a film that I heard the premise of. I was looking on YouTube or whatever, and someone had mentioned the premise of it. Now, I thought this, at the time, I thought it was a movie in production and going to come out eventually. And so I was like, wow, I can't wait for that movie to come out. Then I looked into it more and realized, oh wait, this movie had already been out for about 3 or 4 years. So then I went and picked it up. Grand Piano, quite a good movie. It's an Elijah Wood film. Quite a good movie. Not great, but enjoyable. Then we have Blockers. Again, this is a film I enjoyed more than most people, I think. Listen, it's not a great movie, but it has some good quality laughs in it, and I'm a big fan of John Cena as a comedic actor. Then we have Bad Moms. I love Bad Moms. Mila Kunis, Kathryn Hahn, Kristen Bell, fantastic. One of the best comedies to come out in the last number of years. Bad Moms 2 or Bad Moms Christmas, unfortunately, wasn't anywhere near as good. Didn't enjoy that film much at all, but the first Bad Moms, check it out if you haven't. It's one of the best comedies to come out in the last number of years. Next, we have Focus with Will Smith and Margot Robbie, a movie about two con artists, basically. Not a great film, but it's an enjoyable film. I recommend it. I enjoyed Focus. Then we have Frozen, Let It Go, Let It Go. Can't hold it back anymore. Listen, I love Frozen. Sue me. Frozen 2 sucks. First Frozen, great. Then we have Argo, Ben Affleck, won the best picture for it. It's a fantastic movie. What more can I say? Then we have The Legend of Tarzan. I got this just because I'm a Margot Robbie fan. This movie, again, is way better than it had any business being. I enjoyed this film. Check it out. It's not a bad little movie. Then we have San Andreas. The Rock takes on a freaking earthquake. Fun little film. fun action flick. I love The Rock. Put him in anything as far as I'm concerned. Life is like a box of chocolates. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. I love Forrest Gump. Tried to rewatch it recently and remembered, wow, this movie's really long, but Forrest Gump, one of the best movies ever made. I love this film. Autobots Rollout. Transformers, the first Transformers movie. It is the second best Transformers movie, live action movie ever made. I really, really enjoyed the first one. The other 5 or 6, whatever, who cares? Then we have Central Intelligence with Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, a fantastic comedy. I really, really enjoyed this film. Okay, next up we have one of the best movies of 2018. This is the DVD. This is Old Man and the Gun, Robert Redford's final film. I don't believe it's going to be his final film. It's a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Then we have Bohemian Rhapsody starring Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury. This movie got some crap, but I quite enjoy this film. Then we have Crawl, one of the most surprising films of, I think, 2019. I enjoyed Crawl. It's a fun, action, like, alligator kind of film. It's a great movie. Check out Crawl if you haven't already. Then we have Room, because Brie Larson's my favorite person in the world. Then we have Free Fire, because Brie Larson's my favorite person in the world. Then we have Ad Astra, a movie that not a lot of people loved, but I really, really did enjoy Ad Astra. Then we have Green Book. Listen, you can say what you want about this film. I don't care. I really loved Green Book. It was one of my favorite movies of the year it came out. The performances in it are amazing. It's a movie about two unlikely people coming together and being friends by the end of it. Fantastic film. I loved Green Book. I don't care what anybody says. Green Book is great. Then we have the Child's Play remake. This is a film that I think is better than a lot of people give it credit for, but to each their own, I guess. But I quite enjoyed the Child's Play remake. I think Aubrey Plaza was fantastic in this movie, and Mark Hamill is the voice of Chucky. I mean, what more do you want? Then we have the 2019 Aladdin movie. Again, a movie that it had horrible trailers. It had horrible marketing. I thought this movie was going to be an absolute dumpster fire, and it wasn't. Will Smith made the genie his own. Is it as good as the original? No, but I think it's a pretty damn good movie. Then we have Alita Battle Angel, one of my favorites of last year. Listen, this movie, again, it has problems. People give it crap for a lot of different reasons. I thought this movie had breathtaking visuals. I love the main character of Alita. Alita Battle Angel ruled. And I have X-Men Dark Phoenix. I just do. Next up, we have the John Wick trilogy, because it's the John Wick trilogy. John Wick 3 is the best, then John Wick 1, and then John Wick 2. Then we have Wind River. Listen, I love Wind River. I'm going to say something that not a lot of people might agree with, and that's perfectly okay. I have not seen a movie since I saw Wind River in theaters in 2017. I haven't seen a film that I think is better than Wind River. Wind River is my favorite movie of the last couple of years. It is the movie that I consider to be the best film of the last couple of years. I love Wind River. Next up is actually my most recent Blu-ray purchase. I purchased this like 2 days ago, and listen, I know it's available online, and I said, I'm gonna buy digitally from now on, but I kind of wanted this movie for my collection. That was Guns Akimbo. Daniel Radcliffe has guns bolted to hands, and then he has to play in a real-life death match. Guns Akimbo, man. This movie, again, it's not a very highly rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Not a lot of people enjoyed it. This movie is fun, it's extremely violent, it's hilarious, it's crazy. I really, really love Guns Akimbo. It was everything I wanted it to be and so much more. Then we have Upgrade, a movie I really enjoy, one of the best sort of sci-fi movies to come out in the last couple of years. Then we have The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. Fantastic, classic comedy. Then we have Ford v Ferrari, the movie that made me care about car racing, even though I know nothing about car racing. Christian Bale, Matt Damon, incredible performances. My second favorite movie of 2019. Then we have Zombieland Double Tap. I wasn't a fan of the first Zombieland movie, but this movie's fucking hilarious. Then we have Parasite. This is a movie that could only come out of South Korea. I love Parasite. Oh my god, this movie's so good. If you haven't seen Parasite, see Parasite. Do it, you won't regret it. Mission Impossible Fallout. It's my favorite of the Mission Impossible series thus far. I'm super looking forward to seeing what they do in the next 2 movies. Then we have La La Land, my favorite movie of 2016. Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone. I love La La Land. Then we have The Darkest Minds. This was a movie that didn't get a lot of attention, and I get why a lot of people might not like this film. And watching this film, you can see you could take it as kind of an X-Men ripoff, and I get it. There are a lot of similarities story-wise and plot-wise. But I didn't think this was such a bad little film at all. I quite enjoyed this movie. Yes, it has problems, but it's an enjoyable little film. Then we have Remember the Titans. This might be my favorite Denzel Washington film. I love Remember the Titans. I want Disney to make more movies like this. Then we have John Cho in Searching, my favorite film of 2018. Who would have thought you could make these sort of found footage kind of films and make them with a level of quality that they made searching. Then we have Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet, both fun movies. I actually prefer the sequel to the original, but still, both great films. Then we have Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively in A Simple Favor. Wow, this movie's so damn good. Oh my god, this movie's so good. It changes genres like every 15 minutes and it does it seamlessly. You don't know what's happening. It goes from comedy to drama to thriller to mystery. Oh my god, A Simple Favor. It's so damn good. Then we have Jennifer Lawrence in Red Sparrow. I got this mainly because of the slipcover. I really think the slipcover's kind of beautiful. And this was a movie that, again, not a lot of people love, but I really do appreciate this film. Then we have Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, because if you don't enjoy this film, I think you're clinically dead inside and you've got no heart and no soul. This movie's just a hell of a lot of fun. Sing to it, dance to it, whatever. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, check it out. Then we have Hercules. Oh my god, Hercules, the Disney animated movie. I'm really curious to see what the Russo brothers do with this in their live action adaptation they've got coming at some point. I'm looking forward to that. Then we have Haley Steinfeld in The Edge of 17, a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, check it out, it's amazing. Oh, I think we're on the last two piles. Here we go. Beauty and the Beast, the remake. I didn't think this movie was all that bad, actually. I was quite impressed with the remake of Beauty and the Beast. Then we have The Greatest Showman. This movie gets a lot of hate. A lot of people don't like this movie. Again, this is one of those movies that I don't know if you understand what the feeling of joy is if you don't enjoy this film. I love The Greatest Showman. But look, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. But I love this film. It's relentlessly entertaining. The soundtrack is amazing. Keala Settle, Hugh Jackman. Oh, Greatest Showman, so good. Math is a wonderful thing. School of Rock. I love School of Rock. Jack Black, this movie kicks all sorts of ass. School of Rock rules. Logan Lucky, Daniel Craig, Adam Driver, Channing Tatum. What a fun film this was. Daniel Craig doing that ridiculous accent, playing a character called Joe Bang, who's an explosive expert. That's such an appropriate name. I love Logan Lucky. Then we have Harrison Ford in The Fugitive. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Next up, we have Hitman's Bodyguard, Ryan Reynolds, Sam Jackson. What a fun little action comedy this was. Then we have Predator. We have Ex Machina. What a great movie. Then we have Whiplash with J.K. Simmons. It's not my tempo. Then we have Game Night. Again, an underrated comedy from the last couple of years. What a fantastic little comedy this was. Then we have Kingsman, The Secret Service. To me, there's only one Kingsman movie, because Kingsman, The Garbage Circle doesn't exist. Then we have Denzel Washington in The Equalizer. I really love this first Equalizer movie. Didn't love the second one so much. Whoops. Then we have the remake of Dredd with Carl Urban. Fantastic. The Pursuit of Happiness. This movie hits me on all sorts of levels. I love this movie. Then we have Bad Neighbors 2. I was given this as a Christmas present. Not a bad little movie. Then we have Dominic Purcell in Gridlocked. This was a movie I don't think a lot of people have heard of, but it's a fun little action film. If you haven't seen Gridlocked, check it out. I recommend it. Then we have Baby Driver, a movie that I can't watch anymore because while it's a really good movie, Kevin Spacey's in it. So there's that. Then we have Jim Carrey in The Truman Show. The Truman Show's fantastic. What else can I say about it? Then we have Shrek 1 and Shrek 2. Shrek. Who doesn't love Shrek? I'm dropping Blu-rays. Then we have the 2018 Halloween remake, a movie I really did enjoy. I'm looking forward to the sequels coming soon. Then we have the Power Rangers live action 2017 version, a movie again I enjoy. It was way better than it should have been. Then we have the Toy Story collection. This is Toy Story 1 through 4. Toy Story movies, they're all perfect films. You can put them in any order, no one can argue with you. I love Toy Story. Then we have my favorite Pixar movie of all time in Coco. Then we have The Incredibles and The Incredibles 2. I actually vastly prefer the first Incredibles, but the second Incredibles movie is a really, really good movie. But I do prefer the original. Then we have Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, both fantastic, both sensational. Was not expecting to love Finding Dory as much as I did. Then we have Planes, Trains and Automobiles, one of my favorite comedies of all time, Steve Martin, John Candy, a John Hughes film. And another John Hughes film in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you haven't seen it, what rock have you been living under? Then we have Mother, and you have to say it like that because there's an exclamation point. Listen, this movie got a lot of crap, and I get it. I get why a lot of people didn't like this movie. I just like how weird and unique and different this film is. Yeah, I don't know that I'd say it's a good movie, but it's definitely a weird movie, and I appreciate it for being weird. Then we have Last Flag Flying, another Bryan Cranston film. I thought this movie was really heartfelt, actually. I quite enjoyed Last Flag Flying. Then we have Your Name, a fantastic anime movie. Then we have Kumail Nanjiani's The Big Sick. This is such a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. We have Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I'm pretty sure we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And we also have War of the Planet of the Apes. Look at that, all three. Then we have Dirty Grandpa. This movie fucking sucks. And we also have Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I don't mind this movie, but I don't love this movie either. So there you have it, guys. There's my entire Blu-ray collection. Wow, that took forever. Hope you enjoyed this movie. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. Thank you very much for watching once again. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.